Let's get into it, though. A lot of people want to know, Seth is no longer with Volcom. And we're going to fire up a Patreon question about that. Ben Barbie wants to know, if Seth is willing to share, it would be interesting to hear his perspective on Volcom. And maybe before you could get into that, you could kind of explain your role there for many years.
Yeah. Okay. So basically through the timeline, it was crazy. I put together this timeline and, just visually just kind of seeing from the get-go, getting on Volcom and then, to current day. All right. And yeah, when this show airs, it's, I will be no longer with Volcom or working at Volcom. So, back in 2001, my first box, I was on Capita. Blue got me on Capita, and he's like, "Who do you want to ride for?" And I was like, "Volcom," like instantly, dream brand. So they were about 10 years in because they started in 1991. So got my first box, or he sent my sponsor me tape, like straight up VHS, sent it in. Jay Twitty was the team manager at the time, and he watched it, and yeah, he put me on. He gave me my first box, and within that first box, it was like handwritten, because this is like 2000, whatever. And he's just like, the one quote that really stood out was just like, "The ball's in your court." And that stuck with me probably to this day, you know what I mean? Like just seeing that in writing, and, it was just like a dream come true. And it was just like one of those things where I was just like, okay, this is the amazing brand, and don't screw this up. So I started riding in 2001. I was a rider all the way through, filming through my whole career, video parts, and, they got me into videos, like had so many opportunities. Then I transitioned right around like 2012. As my career was sort of, kind of like I was at the peak of it, or, at the height. And I was shooting a lot of photos in the summers, when I was filming video parts. I was, had the VX because, we filmed everything when we were snowboarding. So, and my super good friend Brock Harris had a skate park, and he actually started, a deck company. And with his skaters, I would just like, okay, let's make a video. You know what I mean? Because I was like bored in the summer, So I was filming a lot, shooting a lot of photos. And, my team manager at the time, Ryan Boys and Billy Anderson, they kind of took note of that. And they were just like, hey, like, as you're getting older, would you be interested in kind of transitioning into more of this like team captain sort of role? And I'm kind of running you guys through the history. Hopefully this isn't too boring.
This is great.
Keep going. And then, and I was like, yeah, that okay. Like, I was kind of weird. I was like, what? I'm not done, But it was one of those things where like, no, it's kind of like a quote unquote Jamie Thomas position where he's, you're out on kind of managing the road and doing the trips, filming second angle, and then also just kind of like bringing up the younger kids. And I was like, okay, cool. So right around 2012, that's when that started, or 2011 or so, that's when that started happening. And then right at that same time, social media started popping off, like Instagram, Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, all that stuff. So they kind of saw like no one ever told me really like there to be like, oh yeah, film this and then edit this or make this or do this. I just did it naturally, because if I'm filming clips, I know how to edit. I'm gonna start putting those things together. Oh, here, check it out. Here's an edit. Or at that time there wasn't really like a super big YouTube thing either, but we were making like content, and it was just kind of snowballed into this thing to where it's like, all right, I was still under like an athlete contract, but as all this social media stuff was exploding, I just like, they just plugged me into that. So low level, like at the ground level, is just like instantly started like, kind of like a boots on the ground or boots in the snow marketing kind of role, with social media. And that was before it was even like refined. Like now it's like a machine. Like that thing is just crazy. But at that time it was just brand new. It was just like throw anything at it, photo, video. I was doing it all. I was figuring out ways to like get a photo from my camera to the Instagram instantly, and it was sick. And it was just this thing that just kind of snowballed and built. And I was getting like the foundation of like managing the team, creating content, publishing, and creating stories. And as that evolved, that just kept going and going. And then they brought me in-house, and I was, super fortunate to be asked, like, hey, do you want to be an employee? Like through different changes in the brand, because I was on a contractor level. And yeah, so then in 2017, I got on as like my title was like global team and marketing manager. And I was working with Jeff Kabigtang and Remy Stratton and Kaylin Cassidy under the whole big, Ryan E. McGart's like marketing program. So yeah, and then that just like kept going until basically, like the start of 2024. Then I got promoted to like global snow marketing director. So that was a big nice jump. And then that brings us to current time. So that's kind of like my timeline in a nutshell of like everything. And every single year was nuts. It brought a new adventure, it brought new content, brought new relationships, it brought new partnerships. It was just incredible. As I put together this timeline, I'm just like, this wasn't even really everything too. It was like there's still more in there, but it was just a way to like catalog it all. And I was just like, holy crap, 24 years of just like going for it, right? Because you start as a snowboarder and then you end up and like, you're doing deals and writing contracts and making movies and, having these big brand partnerships. And it's just kind of one of those things that just slowly sort of happens, and it's crazy and good. And then on the flip side of that, where the business is at and where Volcom was at, it's like when I started with the brand, it was privately owned, and then I watched that in like 2020 or 2005-ish, it goes public. And then after being public for however many years, I can't remember the exact year, but then it was bought again back by a privately owned company called Kering, which is like they own like Gucci, Saint Laurent, like all these big luxury brands, and they wanted to expand into sports. And then that lasted until about the end of 2018 or so, and now it was bought by a company called Authentic Brands Group. So that's all happening kind of behind the scenes, as everybody's, riding for the company, working for the company. And the Authentic Brands Group is set up to where they're like, they own the IP. And within that like acquisition, what they do is they own the IP, like they own the logo, they own the name, they own all the content. And then they license it out to an operating company. And an operating company basically runs it. They, sell it, they distribute it, they produce it, manufacture everything. So within that like acquisition, all of us that had came from owning it, all of a sudden there was a new company that was formed called Liberated Brands that operated it. So right there, it was a little like as employees, like we didn't see too much change. There was a little bit of change. It was all kind of slow at the time, all the way through all of this, you know what I mean? And we kind of just kept going, running it, and like we owned it, you know what I mean? Like the passion was there, the people were there. Like a lot of the employees in the marketing department too were all like day one employees, like Remy and Ryan and everyone been there for, 25, 30 years. So, there wasn't much change there. And then, I guess like what's going on, right? Like what happened, at the end of this year is, through on an executive level that I'm not really like too in tune with, I know, but, like I wasn't involved in any of it because I was like really specifically Volcom Snow, and I know what was happening within Volcom, but there's a lot of other brands that kind of were, we got the license to, Liberated did, and there's a lot more people coming in and, different things shift. But through that, Pat Bridges did a great write-up on Slush Magazine, so you can really go through like the details of like, kind of his perspective or, whatever he wrote. But ABG basically pulled the license from Liberated for different reasons, and now they gave it to a new group to operate it. And through that transition, they took some salespeople, product people, and stuff like that to go with the brand at that new operating group. Am I making sense here?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay,
I'm
perfect.
super interested.
Yeah. And then, and as far as the marketing goes, that and everything, that's where it was like, up in the air. You know, a lot of unknowns at that point, and it was kind of like, hey, ABG's trying to decide if they're going to do the marketing, and then, you know, the new operator, like they're like, we may or may not do the marketing, you know, so it's kind of like we're kind of in this like weird gray area limbo. And as it turns out, like, no, they didn't take the marketing department, or at least like some people went to other brands and other things, but as far as Volcom goes, like, no, like that was it. My job's done. And, you know, it's kind of, now it's like a clean slate and onward. So that's the end of 24 years. And as far as like the team goes, you know, like going through, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of rumors out there and, you know, everything. And that was like probably some of like this 2024, like, you know, seeing it has been like the most trying year, I think. Like it was so like sick. I was like, oh yeah, finally I'm getting this like director role, you know, where like really, like I was calling the shots before, or, you know, a lot of them. But at the same time, I was like, kind of like, yeah, like, all right, you get a new title. You're like, let's go. And then seeing it kind of fall off the backside, and that was really, really, really hard for me. Like, cause like I'm the type of person that I am all in. Anything I do, I'm all in. And snowboarding is like my first love. Like when I started in, ironically, 1991, same year Volcom was founded. That was my first year snowboarding. So, and to see it, you know, to be a part of it, and then Volcom kind of blended into that same kind of love, just because like so much of the brand that I started from a young age and like fell in love with was like the culture, you know, youth against establishment, everything. So I'm so emotionally attached to this, you know, like you guys would see me. I'm up there in the POW days with the tent and the truck
and
like,
the Jenny pop on out there. The back of the Volcom rig.
Yeah, and you know, and it's so crazy. Like I set up a new board and I didn't put a sticker on it. I was like, this what? Like I've not done this since 01, you know. And you know, I had a moment, and it was crazy. You know, just seeing the team. You know, everything that happened. Some team riders made it through. You know, a lot didn't, and that destroyed me. Like it was so hard to watch that and be a part of that. And you know, I had to make those calls, and I hated it, but at the same time, I was like, I would rather it be me than somebody that they don't know. You know what I mean? Or get a notice in the mail. So I made those calls, and it was like some of the toughest calls, some of the toughest meetings. Some I did, you know, face to face, and just to like show, you know, that, you know, where I was at with it. And everyone, you know, absolutely sucked. So but I guess, you know, at the end, that's what's another part of the job. But I try to explain it the best I can and paint the picture as best I can, like where it's at, and maybe it came through to him, hopefully. But we'll see. I'm sure it's so hard to understand, like when you're a rider and you're in that mentality, like you're just like, what? I don't get it, you know. And it's like, okay, but yeah, but I did have a moment of closure, you know what I mean, like throughout the whole process, you know, because I've been kind of, you know, we've been kind of in limbo, like as the brand shuts down for like the last couple months. Dude, I just started bawling one day. Like I was watching a hockey game, and before the hockey game, they were like lifting somebody's number into the rafters, and I was just, and like he's retiring their number. And I was just like, his family's there. He's giving this like sick speech. It was kind of funny, but like tearing up, you know, and all this. I was just like, holy shit. And I just started bawling, and I just cried it out for about like 30 minutes. And it wasn't really about, you know, in Volcom, like, yeah, that it sucks. It's like losing something, you know, I don't even know.
A part of yourself, maybe.
Yeah, totally. Exactly. Part of yourself. Yeah, it's kind of like going through a death, kind of like going through like a breakup or a divorce, whatever you could imagine. And I got through that after, you know, and then I was just like, okay, I think I'm good. And it's been, you know, and I seriously, after that moment, like, it's been like, all right, like, because there's a lot of like, you're going through the emotions, you know, like it's full grieving process, like full grieving process. And I've been there and only done this for 24 years. And it's scary to think like, I'm gonna go out into the job market. It's like, what? You know, everyone's like asking for like college and all this stuff. And I'm like, dude, I'm a snowboarder. What do I know? Like, I don't know. But I don't know. It's like, you know, just, just reflecting on it a lot. Hanging out with my, my family a lot. This year, I haven't really snowboarded too much. I have. It's not that I lost passion or anything. It's just been a weird year. It's like some days I kind of look at it and I'm just like, and then, and then you got like, it's kind of been a weird snow year and everything else. But then Mason, my son, he's on a travel hockey program and he loves it. And he is just diving into it. And I had this moment where I was like, God damn, like I've been making all these other kids' dreams come true, like for all, and I loved it. But, and then, and if Mason's into hockey, we're all in. We are going to get it. He was working out with Jeremy all summer. Like he had a mission. He's like, I want to make this travel team. I want to make the top varsity team. I'm like, we're doing it. We set up a plan and he made both teams. He's just thriving. And we've been, I just got back from Dallas a couple, weeks ago, just like seeing that whole process of a different side than just snowboarding. And that's just been super refreshing. But in the same term, like I got in the streets the other day with Jeremy, ate shit.
That clip was amazing.
Died. And I was just like, you know what? Like he, him and Bob were just like, dude, it's good. Let's get out of here. I'm like, no, no. And it wasn't. I wasn't even bummed or pissed or anything. I was just like, God, I feel alive. I just hit the pavement.
Get this thing.
Yeah. And I got up and did. I was like, I don't even care if I just 50-50 it. I don't care. I just need it right away. So that was a really good feeling. And, it's still there. I love snowboarding to death. And
we actually have a question that's a great segue for this. All beautiful things that you said, but while you're on that topic, Stone Cold Steve Lockwood, shout out Lockwood, he wants to know, when is it time to hang up the boots in the streets?
Never. Don't ever listen to that voice. Always get in the streets. Joey, you're going to go dude, your dad's still killing it.
So Pops is still going.
You got
those good genes for sure.
Yeah. There's no good time to hang up the boots. And I don't know, there's just something about like, I don't know, you're just kind of out, like the street, like for street snowboarders, like you're, no matter what, like skater, whatever, whoever, you see spots, like no matter what, everyone sees spots. Like, there's snow, shit. Yeah. Like, it's on and do something, jib a railroad tie. Like, do something.
Yeah, picnic table doesn't matter. Like,
it's just so fun to go out. Like, it was a nice night the other night when we were out. The light was super good. It was calm. It was like a Sunday. And I was just kind of looking around. We were actually we're at that place where the same school with the challenge rail.
Oh yeah.
Pat was probably hitting it.
Yeah.
He was
up
probably
on
hitting
Foothill.
Yeah. And it was just like, dude, the paragliders were coming down, landing right next to like the spot, and I was like, this is sick. Like, no one's telling us to be here. You don't have to like get up early to go sit in the parking lot to like get first chair. We're just here, got a coffee, strapping in. No pressure, snowboarding. Like that right there is like pretty rad.
I love this subject. I want to go back to it. But before we move on from the Volcom thing, I just think there's something I wanted to clarify that I think would be an interesting topic, is that as a person in a marketing role, right, let's say you have a certain budget, and I'm just going to make up a number. Let's say it's $100,000, right? And I'm guessing what happened is they're like, okay, here's your new budget. It is 1/3 of that, right? And then you had to make all those tough calls.
Oh yeah, I mean, the budget cuts and stuff.
Yeah,
we've been dealing with that since the heyday. I think like I came into it, which is a bummer because when I was like riding for Volcom, like 2006, filming a scramble, there was no fucking budget. Like it was like if it's good and you're in Alaska, you're getting the bird.
Blow the doors off.
Yeah, blow the doors. I remember Billy just saying that. It's like, if it's good, we're going. Doesn't matter. Like, doesn't matter. And, the premiere for that year was just like the height of it. I mean, Fuel TV, Valiant Thor in the parking lot. It was at Volcom. It was the craziest party I've ever I don't remember shit. But, yeah, it was like one of the sickest premieres. That was a heyday. And then, from there, it's like you yeah, like things happen, economy changes, 07, 08, the economy crashes, and then, you know, ownership changes, and then things got kind of sick there for a bit with like caring, because like they cared about sustainability and people, and they did have a lot of contracts. Volcom got crazy with the team, like crazy. It was massive, and that was before I had visibility on it all. But then, you know, I saw, you know, some different things happening. Like, you know, I remember Gabe Ferd talking about it, and you know, and you know, people got like paid out, just balloon payments, but they just needed to clean up like how it looked for the forecast. So yeah, I saw it go down and down and down, and then I finally get in the seat, and I'm just like, this is gonna be sick, you know, just like be able to like do cool projects and make videos, and you know, hire team writers and stuff like that. But it was inevitably, it was kind of just, you know,
That's what happens. Though.
Wedging out.
You have this budget with a big number, and then that gets smaller, and then you're working with way less money than you had the year before, and you have to make some tough decisions.
You have to, and you have to like look at it subjectively, because like all the team writers, like I loved every single one. I went to bat for every single one. I knew exactly where they all fit in the puzzle and in the marketing story, from like backcountry to street to like everything. And all of a sudden, like when that, like you say, like when you get a new number, you're just like, damn it. It's like choosing between children or something.
Choosing your kids.
Yeah. It's just like, how do I do this? You know, how do I do this? And always running different things. And it's like, and you know, in different situations, it's like, oh, you're 50, you have to cut 50%. And I'm like, 50? I'm like, how? Like, there's no way. Like, there's
And then you end up being the
way.
asshole. And then everybody's
Yeah.
like, you're the person that has to hack everybody, either their contract down or fire them. And it's just like, you were given a budget, and there's no good way out of it. And it just sucks, right?
There's no, and you know, we tried to I kind of pride myself in like really trying to get creative too, with just like different incentives and different things where, you know, you can pull things from. And yeah, ultimately you lose, you know, in it, and you know, how people react is how people react. And like, I don't hold it against anybody, because it's such a hard thing to understand. And then, you know, and then if you kind of walk it back, like, it's just like, dude, this is you're a pro snowboarder. Like, you could be pounding nails, you know? And in the end of the day, it's just like, you know, because I watched, you know, a lot of people take a lot of cuts and hits, and they still, you know, maintain their drive, and like they're stoked for the brand. And, you know, that was highly commendable, you know, like, I was like, yeah, that's awesome. Like, but, you know, I'm trying. Go ahead.
Oh, and just something that I wanted to, I guess, circle back on is, so Volcom went through a couple different owners over the years, and really it comes down to the company that owns Volcom. It's their business decision on what direction they want to go, as far as, hey, we want to focus on core retailers and team riders, or we don't want to spend any money on that, and we want to just make cheaper gear in big box stores. Like, and so is that kind of part of it? It's like sort of whatever they want to do with the direction of the brand, and then you're kind of like, those are the cards you're dealt.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's kind of like, you know, who has the license, and what are their channels, and that's probably all worked out behind closed doors of like what the direction is, but with the operator and the like IP owner, and then everything kind of fits into that, you know, and you know, when whoever owns it, like, people are only going to ride for snowboard owned brands, and it's like, I don't buy that, because I've seen a lot of snowboarders screw over snowboarders. You know what I mean? It's like, it comes down to like, okay, who are the people?
Yeah,
right,
for sure.
Who are the people? What are their values? And what is it like to be there?
Yeah.
Right. And you know, and I'm not saying it's better or worse now. It's just like, it is what it is, right? It's like, hopefully, like, I would never talk crap about Volcom. It's like talking crap about your parents. Like, you never do it. And you know, like, I don't agree with how it is, but at the same time, it's just like, it's out of my hands. It's like, go forward, and I wish them the best, you know, because I still got a lot of friends that work there, and you know, I wish them the best. But when I look at it, I'm just like, it's not. It's like,
I mean, how I always
Yeah.
like growing up riding Brighton, I would always see you up there in your truck and all of that. And to me, you were like the lifeblood of it, and you like legitimized the program. And I felt like that's what gravitated so many sick riders to Volcom, you know? And like you just hit on, it's like the people are really what make the brands.
Yeah.
And yeah, when you just are not set up for success in that way, it's just like, it's time to kind of part ways.
The question I have too is with the team particularly, how many people do you know are on the team?
Well, I think 7. I mean, okay, like global team, it's different because like Europe, they didn't get touched, they didn't get phased.
Europe's operates under a different.
Yeah,
there's a different group that runs the license in Europe.
It all shattered.
got it.
Because like before, like we were global. We had the global license.
Yeah.
So Europe reported to us, Australia kind of, they changed actually recently, but like Japan. But now it's like, I don't even honestly know exactly the ins and out of how it shattered, but it's shattered. Europe is operating on their own. They got their own budget, you know, whatever their channels are and product. Same with Japan. I don't know what that is. Australia is like, I think they were with the Board Riders acquisition. They kind of got pulled into that side. So it's different. It's like, it looks all different. And as far as like who I manage, I think there's like, for sure, 6.
Cut down from how many?
I have close to like 15, 16.
Yep.
Yeah. Like Canadians and, you know, and I had to just, yeah. That's
Crazy. Well,
and yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's sad because there's good people that still work there, like you said, trying to do good things. You know, they're trying to do good things, and then ultimately, is it gonna be, you know, just, you know, throwing some pig on a lipstick and, you know, they're just selling to big box, or are they gonna do cool things for core snowboarding? Are they gonna support snowboarding in ways that you know are important to the community? Time will tell.
Was it just snowboarding, or I saw videos of surfers too, like taking Volcom stickers off too. Is it skate and snow
it's
too? It's everything.
It's
right?
everything. And to go back to like, I appreciate, you know, like you know, saying that I held it down for the snow program in Brighton and you know, just seeing me. But like, dude, I looked up to so many people like Remy Stratton, Ryan Immigart, like they just held that torch super high. Brad Doherty, Richie, like I worked with Richie. Richie, he ran the global surf department, you know, with Brad. And dude, he was like sending us boxes back in the day. He like worked in the back warehouse, and this like he's just the stoniest, sickest dude. Like you want him, and he's always good vibes. And yeah, it's crazy, you know, because there's so many of us, I think, in our own expertise. You know, Kurt Mindus, he was doing the music, and oh my gosh, like every video that I ever made for Volcom was just like, he would handle all the music so easy. He knew everybody. It was like, yep, $500, let's go. So there's so many good people like that. I, you know, too many to name even. They know who they are. That, yeah, it's just, it's a bummer. And like no matter who, you know, where it comes from, like those people, like, we all fed off each other. We all wanted to do awesome things. We all wanted to just keep going. You know, Diego started the new mountain bike program, just like charging into uncharted waters for Volcom, which was sick. And yeah, and now we'll see where it goes. Like for me, it's like I'm psyched to take whatever I can bring. You know, like put the 24 years behind me and just keep charging because, you know, root down. I love snowboarding. That's it.